Okay, so this is a video showing how you kind of customize the table views on the monitor tab. So what we're looking at right now is my customized view where I have set the columns that I want to look at. And honestly, I would recommend that you probably follow what I have done. It's hard for me to advise you to do something different because obviously I think what I've done is correct. Um, and how you actually customize is you click on this icon here, edit table, and you have the ability to remove fields by selecting them and clicking them over here, or to add fields in by selecting them and putting them over here. So if we take the example of DHCP client, I moved it over. Then I want to determine where it appears from left to right by moving it up. So in this case, it's going to appear after the clients field, which is here. So if I save that, it will, okay. Of course, the DHCP client field is of no interest because it's always enabled on our access points. So I will edit again and remove that. Okay, so if we review what we have, this left-hand field is not really of interest to school text because it's usually selecting the access points in order to do something with it, either change its configuration or update it. These are things that won't be accessible to you. Audit is an indication that there is some action needed on the access point, either its configuration, well, usually its configuration is out of date in relation to what's stored in the master configuration database. Location, we set that to the classroom. Device model. At the moment, AP121s and 120s are what go in classrooms. AP330s are generally what go in media centers, gymnasia, cafeteria, auditoria. They're higher performance and can work with more clients. The host name is always AH dash, and these the 378E00 is actually the last 6 hexadecimal digits of the hardware MAC address for the management interface on the access point. Whether the device is alarmed or not, which channel is being used on the 2.4 gigahertz band. That's interesting because if you notice that classrooms that are right next door to each other or clustered together are all using the same channel, then that can be problematic. I mean, one of the things I notice here is that I'm not seeing any use of channel 1. I'm seeing lots of 6 and lots of 11 and very little 1. And so that might be something you might want to see. Wi-Fi 1 channel, usually not so interesting because we don't have problems of interference between access points which are new to each other due to them using the same channel. We have 9 channels on the 5 gigahertz band, Wi-Fi 1 band, and that allows us to kind of automatically avoid potential issues of interference. Clients, those are the number of wireless clients, so laptops, iPads, Chromebooks, smartphones, which are currently being served by that access point. The management interface, probably not that interesting to school text. It's interesting to me because I sometimes want to directly connect into an access point, and this is what helps me do it. Topology map, that is of interest, although in this case, Gov Elementary, we haven't mapped it out. So this would normally show you the building and floor connection, telling you whether the access point is in live connection with the management system. That's important. If that's not green, we have an issue. How long it's been up. Sometimes if you're having some issues and you notice that your access points have been up for a long time, you might want to call me and say, hey, Ed, how about giving us a reboot here, see if that fixes our problems. HiVos, if you have a room that looks like it's not behaving properly and notice that it hasn't got the same version as all the other rooms, then that can be interesting to you. Device function, access point, nah, not all that interesting. They're all access points. And the node ID really is the same as the host name. You'll notice the 378E00 and the same here. That's why these less interesting piece of information are off to the right. So that's what you see on this table. Generally, the thing that you might most be interested in on this table are the number of clients that are connected to an access point. And from there, what we're going to do is look at how we drill down. So let's say we in this screen, we can see that right down here, we got one access point with 16 clients. And so that looks interesting to us. So we're going to right click on the 16. We're going to open up a new tab. And this is going to be a client monitor. And it will show us only the clients which are currently active on the given access point. And you will see if we look over here to the right, the device name, it is showing that access point. Again, you can customize this view with this icon here. And I would simply recommend that you follow what I've done. So we've got our health here, usually, red probably means that the device is disconnected. But if you see something which is yellow, that can be interesting to know. Then we've got interface name. Remember, Wi-Fi 0 is 2.4, Wi-Fi 1 is 5 gigahertz. If you've got a lot of clients, you want to know how many are on 2.4, how many on 1, you do control find Wi-Fi and then hit 0. And the count up here, the 10 will tell you you've got 10 clients on Wi-Fi 0, which is 2.4. And you've got 2 on Wi-Fi 1, which is 2, okay? I usually like to organize them by receive strength signal indication, which is a negative number, and the higher the negative number, the less strong the signal. And you're almost always looking for a signal strength of above 20 dBs to get some kind of reasonable service. And ideally, for devices which are in a room and supposed to be using an access point in the room, you should certainly be getting above 30. So if we look at these first few devices, I would suggest that the Android device is not in the room, and I would suggest that these 3 Windows devices are also not in the room, because 15, 16, 24 are not signal levels you would get if you were in the same room as the access point. You will also notice that the amounts of data that have been transferred across are very small. So the first client that's really in the room looks to be this one, which has had 530 megabytes or 0.53 gigabytes. And what I want to show you now is how you drill down and look at that client in detail. So we right click on the MAC address and we can open that up. And that one is roamed away. Okay, so it's no longer connected. And this is one of the issues you can sometimes have. So let's see if we've still got any clients in here. Okay, this one is still there. And we have these graphs, which can be very useful. These graphs don't always show up, and I can't actually tell you why they don't. First thing you probably want to look at is bandwidth, which will probably mirror this first graph, which is frames. And it shows us that there was an initial growing peak of bandwidth when the system first came online. And then what we want to do is look at these histograms. Now, note this scale. You can zoom in and zoom out. This looks great because we've been transmitting at either the highest or the second highest rate for almost all the data. When you see greens and blues, things are good. When you see yellows and reds and browns, things are not good. We look at this. When you see a little bit down here, especially on the receive side, and that's the receive at the access point, this is just the laptop deciding to save some power and transmit at a lower rate when it only has a small amount of data. So this is how you drill down through access point to client list to individual client. The fields of real importance here: interface name, which band is it on, receive strength, signal indication, and then beyond that, signal to noise ratio. And then the last 2 hours of data sent. Okay, that's just about all I have time for, and hopefully that was useful.